Yo, yeah, I have not been documenting my practice as much as I sort of planned on doing, so I felt compelled to do it and try to be as consistent as possible. I have a monitor up there now to kind of see where I'm positioned in the angle, so now I'm gonna be just like hyper focusing on that shit, whatever. Yeah, I've been practicing with a little bit of like house music and stuff, and it's been kind of interesting and fun to do, so that's what I'm gonna do. Practicing with this stuff is interesting because it makes me feel compelled to kind of avoid, the usual tropes and like whether that be bebop or jazz language or things that I typically play when I'm improvising. But when I'm playing along to music like this, I sort of feel compelled to use some different devices and learn and honestly learn some new stuff. So I'm a ways away from that, but just interesting playing with practicing with some different kinds of music, especially like this house music stuff, because it makes you want to improvise in a different way, because you don't really want to, it sounds weird or maybe corny for lack of a better word, to kind of play the usual tropes over stuff like this. So just some food for thought. Let's see if I can manage with this. It's loud though. I'm not even recording. That's bad. There we go. Well, yeah. No, yeah, like I was saying, it's kind of like interesting to approach this sort of different kind of weird like house. It's not weird, I love this stuff, but it's like it makes you feel a lot less compelled and inclined to like lean on some of the bebop tropes and like the jazz tropes that a lot of us grew up practicing and playing. And it's other than transcribing other stuff, like stuff outside of jazz, which I plan to do a lot more of, and perhaps I'll do on video in the future. But just playing over different sounding stuff makes you naturally feel compelled to go for different stuff, even without like a prior knowledge of because we all know scales and chords, so we all kind of and we know how that relates to the jazz stuff we play, but you know, it makes you kind of approach those things a little bit differently, if that makes sense. Let's see if I can play over this. That is hard. It is very hard to approach like house music when improvising. I'm working on it. Is there anything I can blab about as it pertains to this? Not really. One thing I can recommend for myself mainly, and then maybe for y'all if you want the unsolicited advice, but just like transcribing stuff, like just stuff that you like other than like solos. I mean, obviously transcribing jazz solos is great, and I would never sway anyone against that. I need to do a substantial amount more of that myself, but you know, even if it's just like a line from like a video game track or just like some lick you heard in like an electronic music soundtrack, or not soundtrack, electronic music song, or a house track or something, transcribe it and see if you can incorporate it into your playing, because why not? It ain't gonna kill you, and it'll like make your playing sound more interesting and more like you. Well, okay. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, I had time for a super short one today. I just gonna head to the gym and I'm gonna just write some sort of practice log for things I want to continue to practice in the future because I've been in a little bit of a rut, which can happen to all of us. Just kind of thinking about things that to practice. I think it's important. It can be helpful to write down the things you want to practice and keep somewhat of a log, and just it'll keep you inspired and it'll give you a direction. So I'm going to try to transcribe some things, whether that be a solo or maybe just some lines that I've heard. There was a line I played on the second song that was from multiple Maxo tracks, actually. It was like... He plays it on the Battle Kitty soundtrack and also in the Dawn, Noon, Dusk EP, which is some of my favorite music ever. So yeah, just like finding if you ever hear anything, especially if you play like a horn like I do, or an instrument that you can only play one note at a time. If you hear anything melodically that makes you feel, that compels you, and that you really enjoy, I recommend transcribing it and seeing how you can incorporate it into your playing, because even though it may not sound good in like a traditional jazz context, it might. And it'll sound good in other contexts, and especially, in 2025, we all want to be as versatile as we can in terms of like the music that we can play and the music that people feel compelled to hire us to play. So I think that's some pretty good advice. And what else can I ramble about before I go? I think I was going to say something, but I forgot. Well, save it for next time. Yeah, this was a short one. I was just practicing along with some house music, and that inspired me to kind of learn some new stuff, learn some new language, some more devices perhaps that I could use in some of my practice that would sound good in multiple different musical contexts. So, yeah, that's all I got for today, but I'm going to try to be more consistent with my uploads, and just like, because it's like I've been practicing it still relatively consistently, but I think it's important to I can just turn the camera on and share a little bit with y'all, and I don't think that's a bad thing. So cool. I will see you next time. Farewell.